So last week we talked about Darksiders 3, more specifically 5 things that I didn't like about that gameplay reveal. This week, to even things out, and because I am still optimistic about Darksiders 3, we're not gonna go over 5 things that I like about that gameplay demo, we're gonna go over 7 things that I already love about that gameplay reveal. And number 7, the demo opens up with some lush environments. Visually, this game looks stunning. It's so colorful, the palette is beautiful. It's got a cartoonish look that I've seen criticized here and there, and I understand the criticism. The evolution from the first Darksiders to the second Darksiders was an evolution that took the franchise in a more greedy, somewhat more realistic path, although never super ultra realistic. And this feels like a step backwards into the more cartoonish style, but personally, I love this style. I think it looks beautiful, I think it looks gorgeous, it makes me want to explore these environments. Not only because they're incredibly colorful, but because of our item number 6 on the list, which is the environment variety. Later in the demo, you go underground and you get a totally different vibe. The environment gets darker, it's got more of a blue tone instead of the big colorful green. And so far we have only seen these 2 areas, but they are already so distinct from one another. And what this means for the different environments is each one is gonna be more memorable. There's gonna be a tone for each environment that's just gonna engrave this into our memories. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing, you know? In all the games that have like these very different environments, there's always that zone that you kinda hate and you never want to go back to. But whether you like it or not, it stays engraved in your memory, and ultimately that's what makes for a great world. So I'm loving the environment variety they've showed so far. And number 5, going through all these different environments, we see a lot of enemy types. Even for a small demo, like there's a lot of new enemies. There are some returning enemies as well, but there's a lot of new stuff too. And enemy variety is one of those things that this game really needs. The first and second Darksiders were combat heavy and fighting the same enemies over and over. It could be the downfall of a Darksiders game in the modern times. With this many new enemies showing up in such a small period of time, that means it's gonna keep the gameplay variety up there. That means you never know what to expect from the next area, because you're gonna encounter something completely new, completely different. And speaking of enemies, at number 4, we have enemies just hanging around. And that might sound natural to you because, you know, most games nowadays are like that. But if we look back to the first 2 Darksiders, every time you would enter a room, sometimes there would be an ambush. This time, there are no ambushes. There are no magical doors appearing when you enter a room. There are no enemies just coming out of the ground to ambush you. They're just there. And the best part is that you can skip them if you want because you're not locked into a room anymore. This is a new change that developers are pushing for. It's not just specific to this gameplay demo. It's something they've mentioned in interviews. It's a new direction they're taking. Of course, there's always the risk of becoming out-leveled if you decide to skip a lot of stuff, but that's your choice. Some people like to play it that way, some people like to play it on easy, so level difference is never an issue. And I'm not gonna criticize that. 9 times out of 10, when developers give me a choice, I'm not gonna complain. If you want the extra challenge, maybe you have to grind a little bit, but that's always an option. And options are only a good thing in my eyes. I'm not one of those people that is criticizing the autopilot in Mario Kart 8. I'm not one of those people saying that an easy mode would ruin Dark Souls. Because you can still play those games without any of those things. But you're just including a wider audience that would probably never like this game if you just include those options in it. And number 3, we're moving on to the boss design, more specifically the visual design and the 7 Deadly Sins motif. The 7 Deadly Sins just give the design department a great opportunity for interesting boss designs. And Sloth is the first example that we have, and he breaks any conventions. I've never seen Sloth portrayed as a praying mantis, or an insect for that matter. Sure, there's a convention there. He's fat, but how are you gonna make Sloth and not make him fat? It's like wanting a strawberry milkshake but having no strawberry or milkshake in the drink. Wait, they actually do that, don't they? Anyway, Sloth looks very interesting visually, and I cannot wait to see the other interpretations of the Deadly Sins. And number 2, it's not just the visual style, the visual design of the bosses, but it's actually the mechanics. The boss mechanics of Sloth represent him very well too. His minions are carrying him around because he's just super lazy. Sure, by phase 2 he gets tired of it, but even then, he kills all his minions with one swing of the claw because it just doesn't care. At that point, he's just pissed that you took him off the couch. A lot of attention went into Sloth, the visual design, the boss mechanics, and it all surrounds the motif of the 7 Deadly Sins. How the Sloth fitted to this world of Darksiders, what is his behavior, what is his appearance, and I cannot wait to see the rest of it, where they apply that same logic to the other Deadly Sins. Feels like I'm repeating myself, but no, it's different enough. Maybe. And at number 1, you'll never guess what it is, because it's a very personal thing of mine. It's the reward sound. What's that sound I'm talking about? Well, in Legend of Zelda, whenever you open a door or unlock a chest, you get this sound. Darksiders' take on this same iconic sound is this. Which, in my opinion, is just way better. Now, was there ever a point where they weren't gonna keep the sound, where they were gonna change it? I don't know, maybe, but when I heard it on the gameplay demo of Darksiders 3, I sure felt nostalgic as hell. I'm so glad they decided to keep it. I'm so glad that's a core pillar of the Darksiders franchise. And you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if that was a pillar of all of the developers' games. Like, just every time you unlock something, dun 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 dun. I'm so happy they kept it. It's so good. Anyway, those were 7 things that I already love about the gameplay reveal. Now it's your time to head down to the comments. Let me know what you love about the gameplay of Darksiders 3 already. If you didn't watch the video where I rambled about the things that I didn't like, you can watch it right here. Just click the annotation. Maybe provide some feedback so the developers can fix the issues you have with the gameplay before it's too late. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!